does the microphone sounds okay? Okay. Okay. はじめまして。私は名前はKim Jongmin. This is almost the word I know in Japanese, so I'll speak in English. And hello, my name is Jongmin, and the last name is Kim. I'm from South Korea, and thank you for inviting me this great event with great people. So here's my title. I'm working company Elastic. Have anyone knows about Elastic or Elasticsearch? Okay, that's good, almost of you. Elastic is the company behind the Elasticsearch. Company's name was Elasticsearch, but we changed the corporation name to Elastic. So we are looking things beyond the search engine. And I'm working as a community engineer. Actually, my former title was evangelist or developer advocate. Most of the same thing you are doing, you people doing in here. Just we changed our team name to community team, so we are using a title as a community engineer. And like other evangelists and community engineers, I run the booths at a major conference, and I do run the meetups. I do work with the community and with the developers, to promote our technology. So. Today I will tell my stories. It's a pretty personal story, but it's pretty unique and interesting too. So I'd like to share my story with you in this great event. Here was what I was. My first career. I joined a very big global company in Korea, over almost 100,000 employees in Korea. And I started my first career as a software developer. And in there, I sent to the team to maintenance the system which was built in 2002, which is quite old. And I think it is pretty similar like in Korea and Japan, because many people want to join big company, big major global company. Like in Korea, we have like Samsung, LG, Hyundai, and I was lucky. I was joined one of them. But in this like a big organization, it's hard to do what you want personally. Usually, you get orders from your boss, from your manager, and they orders you to do something you need to. But it's hard to tell them you want to do something other. You want to do something new, technology, and that was the first system I was maintaining, which was built in 2002. It was built on Java, mostly pure Java. It didn't use any framework or famous architect. It was like only Java and JSP, something like that. But for working this major big company, I was a kind of a person who liked to adopt a very new technology. Like world is changing very fast in IT world. There's very new technologies coming, but I am still maintaining system built in 2002, which was pretty boring. In my team, it was I had a very low chance to study some new technologies, and it was quite big stress for me. So I quit. I quit company on 2013, and I escaped this big corporation, finding freedom. Now, so I started my own startup. And year like 2020 and 2013, it was a kind of a fashion that it was a very fancy way. If you are a person who follow the fashion, you have to do your startup. So I followed that. My goal was I have the goal I wanted to have a new experience. I wanted to learn new things, and I wanted to build a cool application. I wanted to change the world, like a Steve Jobs. And last thing was, in my former company, I really had a low chance to join the community because I did not have a chance to use any new technologies, and my team was located in very far, small city. So I had a low chance to join the community, and in my new job, in my new company, I wanted to join the community. That was also my one of my primary goal to starting the business, and I quit my former job. So during my startup, actually I went to some event, hackathon event, and I met my first colleague there for the startup, who he was the kind of expert in music copyright business, and we decided to build up to make a company and build up the system for the music copyright holders, so they can people like singers or composers or musicians, like Spotify or Last.fm users. I don't know what service have in Japan, but in Korea we have something like Melon or Mnet. Maybe you might know. We have some music service providers. Also, Google, Amazon, Apple are doing that. And these people, like artists, music composers or artists, they are usually, not all, but usually they are not very familiar with technologies. So they have an agency who gets the loyalty and collects the money from the music providers, and they calculate the loyalty, and they get their commission, and they pays to these copyright holders. But we wanted to provide some system for the copyright holders so they can see their music data for their trends and how people listen to their music, and so some kinds of logging system, because they have their right. They can ask their raw data from music service providers. You give me my raw data for my music, so I can see that. But usually they didn't have a system for that. So my colleague in that startup, we tried to build that thing. It was a kind of logging system, and we researched some tools what we can to build, and I discovered the Elasticsearch, and it was like the most cool stuff I have ever seen in my life. It was so easy. It was so powerful. It draws so beautiful visualizations. It shows everything what I needed for my system, and it was open source. So I just, how to say, I fell in love with Elasticsearch on that time. So I wanted to learn more about this stuff. And I tried to find some community or some information about the Elasticsearch in my local, but there was no community in my local for the Elasticsearch yet. There was the only information I could find is in Elasticsearch official webpage or Stack Overflow. That's it. So anyway, I wanted to join some community, but I fell in love with Elasticsearch. So I decided, why don't I make one for myself? So I decided to make an Elasticsearch community for myself. So I started Elasticsearch community. First thing I did is I built a Facebook group. In Korea, I don't know why, but mostly Facebook group is the most common tool that most IT companies choose to build their own community, like AWS or Microsoft, Google, and many like a DevOps group. They run many meetups, events. They play with the Facebook a lot. And after I made this page, I started to Google to find some local people who uses Elasticsearch or who studies, who knows about Elasticsearch. And I informed them to our community. So this is how I made my community grow up. I kept searching people. I kept Google to search people's blog posts, SNS, who using Elasticsearch. Once I find them, once I find their email address, I email them. If not, I just put their comment under their blog posts that, hey, I made this Facebook group. Please come join here and please share your information, what you know. Please answer the question that new people who asks something wanted to know, and please let's make this community together. And also I attended another meetups, most common technical meetups, and I introduced about the Elasticsearch technology there, and I encouraged the people to join our community too. So mostly when I went to those common meetups and showed the Elasticsearch very first time, people always was saying such a cool stuff, and they get interested with this technology, and they happily joined our community. And I remember our first meetup ran in April 2014 with 12 people in small sushi house. So after doing this thing, I contacted with Elasticsearch. During that time, webpage was elasticsearch.org. It changed now to elastic.co. I went there and I left there a comment, like every company has the contact me page that you can comment to them. And I left a comment like, hey, I am Elasticsearch user in South Korea, and thank you for making this cool stuff. And I'm using it very well to my business. And I started my community in Korea, and I want to, with all together, I wanted to thank you to make this great stuff, so make world better. That was my main purpose. I wanted to tell to the Elasticsearch community and Elasticsearch company. And suddenly I got a reply from the company, and they were asking me my home address. Not the email address, but my local home address. I was a little frightened. Oh, why? Did I something wrong? Did I disturb their business or what? But what Elastic did was they sent me a box of stickers. So please use these stickers to your community meetups, and a few t-shirts. You can wear this when you're doing a meetup too. And the Elastic company asked me to keep contact with them when I doing meetup. I take some photos, pictures, and inform them what we are doing in South Korea with my community activities. So, and also I sent them our first meetup picture and about the context, what we did, and they posted our South Korean community activity to their official blog post. And also they linked my Korean Facebook group page to the official Elastic web page, under Elastic web pages, community page. So my community became official. It was a really cool experience that I really experienced. That it gave me a really big happy that I built up the small community. Now it became like a local official community that a company supports. So I had a very happy time to spend with Elasticsearch together. I continued to work with Elasticsearch. I made many meetups. I spoke at the meetups, and I wrote some articles and some in IT magazine, and I wrote a Korean book for myself, and I recorded some webinars on the YouTube. And this is the article on the journal I wrote about the Elasticsearch in year 2014. So this is I wasn't an Elastic employee, but you see, like I was working like a community manager as a Elastic community. So unfortunately, my own business didn't go very well. definitely it was my fault. So anyway, startup business actually have a low possibility for success, like maybe 10 to 15%. But anyway, it was my fault. But fortunately, I became quite popular with Elasticsearch in my local as a Elasticsearch expert. And through the community, I made a very good friends together. And after I decided to start my business, they offered me to join with them, or they advised me very good opportunities what I can take. But what I was really to do was I wanted to keep my career with Elasticsearch. Even if I'm doing another business, I wanted to do something with Elasticsearch. So I asked to the Elastic company again, hey, unfortunately my business didn't go well, but I want to do something with Elastic in my local. I wanted to continue. Like, can I make another company like Elastic Consulting? So I can work like your partners or freelance for the Elasticsearch expert. I asked because I did not want to disturb Elastic company's business. So that was I was asking to them. And they replied, instead of Elasticsearch, they offered a better thing. They gave me their job. Yoo-hoo! So it was a time, there was no Elastic employee in Korea, but Elastic was enriching their business to the Asia Pacific and Japan. They were planning to hire people from Japan, Hong Kong, and Singapore, and my first boss, Leslie Houghton, she asked to the HR in Elastic, and why don't we open the hire in South Korea? We have a very good candidate there. So that was me, and I got hired. So after my startup business, I got hired to the Elastic, and I started in a career as an Elastic community engineer, like an Elastic evangelist. So now I'm speak at the meetups, meet people at the conference, write articles or blog posts, or I do many localizing things like translations. These are things actually exactly what I was doing before I joined the company, and I enjoy the company. I'm keeping doing this thing together. Just I get more support, I get paid from company, and I get more fun, which is great. This is I think it was a February meetup in Korea. Now we run a meetup every 2 months, and commonly we get people, usually over 100 people now, which is really cool. So this is our great team. Currently, Elastic has a community team we can call evangelist team, DevRel team in Elastic. We have 14 people in 10 countries in 8 time zones. And we have Otani Jun-sang here. If you are Japanese and have a question, you can ask Jun about Elastic. So, and we are expecting in this year to expand our team like 20 or more people, and 13 or 14 countries, and 9 to 10 time zones. So, yeah. So this is almost my talk. I think we have still some time, and this is our company's logo. I put some stickers in front, and thank you for the listening. If you have any questions, please. We have I think about 4 to 5 minutes. Maybe you can ask in Japanese. Maybe Jun-san can answer. Okay. If you don't, let me show some more things. Like just 1 or 2 more minutes. This is a dashboard. I collect the data from my Facebook community. Last 5 years, we have 2014 articles. And Facebook is a great platform, and the people it's easy to encourage people to join because they just have to push the like button. That's it. But it's hard to search it back to your last article, what you asked like a year ago. So I collect all these, feeds from the Facebook community and I ingest it to the Elasticsearch system, so they can search it here. But unfortunately, Facebook changed their API and they blocked it. Maybe you know that Zuckerberg was doing some. There was some issue in Facebook, so they doesn't. It have been stopped in this April, so I have to find out some other way. And this is a dashboard. I get a survey from my meetup. Our recent, it does not mean the number of the people who attend, but it's the number of the people who answer the survey. This June 21st, we had our recent meetup. We had 231 people got answered, and I remember about 130 people came to the meetup. And this is how people doing what's their occupation, like they are software engineers, they are managers, they are students, and what's their interest mostly in Elasticsearch, Kibana, or others. So yeah, these are things I am keeping doing as a developer survey, a meetup survey. So yeah. Okay, that's it. ありがとうございます。